Hi, I'm Joel McCower here in Studio C with Janine Benyus, the co-founder of Biomimicry 3.8. Janine, we've been talking about running the industrial age backwards. What does that mean? Is it even possible?
Well, basically we're talking about the fact that the industrial age, much of the outcome of the industrial age was that we dug stuff up and we dissipated it everywhere, right? So there's small amounts of metal everywhere, there's too much CO2 in the air, there are materials out of place, things in rivers and landfills instead of in products anymore, so it's this huge dissipation.
We took concentrated things.
We dissipated them. What life is really good at, and that's why I think biomimicry will play a role in this, is selectively grabbing very, very disparate things. And that's what we need to do right now. We need to get that little bit of metal back. We need to gather it back together. We need to mine waterways, right? We need to get photons, which are like a drizzle. They're very, very difficult to get. We need to get them to land on one place so that solar's very efficient. We need to get, for instance, fog. Grabbing fog's it's a trick to get it because it's so small. We need to gather waste materials that are now, held up in e-waste and things like that.
It sounds very inefficient relative to the sort of the big old ways we've done things, whether we just grab some stuff here and grab some stuff here.
Well,
is it going to be cost effective?
The thing is, we've been really good at bursting things apart because we use a lot of heat and pressure and stuff. What we need to do is get very selective. So it can be very effective. So for instance, if you had a mining operation in a box, and say the filters were coated with a molecule called a siderophore, which is very common in the natural world, and it chelates metals for biosynthetic pathways. Organisms can grab mercury and gold and nickel and zinc, whatever they need. If you had each of those filters coated with that, and you were able to pull out recoverable amounts of that metal, you were able to take it in a mixed stream and pull it out, concentrate it, and have recoverable amounts of metal, then it would be effective. The thing is, we haven't been very selective. We haven't been able to do that selectivity, and that's what nature teaches us to do.
So nature already knows how to pull out the nickel, pull out the mercury,
absolutely,
and now we just need to figure out how to harness that? Is that being done now?
Not harness in the sense that we would have bacteria doing our work for us, but we would actually have mimics of those molecules. So that selective chemistry is being studied that chelating chemistry is being studied. So the next step will be in making membranes that have that kind of chelating chemistry on them. Or, for instance, with gathering fog, so wrapping a building in a skin that would be very efficient, like a lot of insects are, in pulling water out of fog, literally combing it out of fog. So that's all we mean by running the industrial age backwards. It's getting back in place the things that we've dissipated. One of the things that, for instance, cellulose, which is the most common, material on the planet, right? It's wood, paper, and I'm watching this whole thing about nanocellulose, which is, by studying trees, we've figured out how trees put fibers together. Okay, so what happens to make wood? Yeah. So what happens, and we figure out the chemistry. What happens when we recycle paper is, after a while, the fibers get shorter and shorter and shorter. We can't use them anymore. By studying how trees put cellulose together, we're figuring out how to put back those fibers together to make them super strong and to turn them into biodegradable plastics that are super strong. So the idea is, if you really want an ethos of using local raw materials, you're going to have to figure out how to gather the things that are everywhere, including CO2.
Yeah. It sounds very cool, but more important, it sounds like a huge, huge business opportunity. So we'll look forward to seeing that happen. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.